welcome back to another episode of the Between the Lines podcast. Fresh off like a 2.5 week hiatus, our producer extraordinaire was on a little vacation and we're back. Today we're going to talk about some NBA stuff. The NBA is going to be back on December 22nd. The league has voted to come back very quickly. The players have voted, the owners have voted. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some NFL quarterbacks, some NBA free agency. How we doing, Tiago? How we doing, Kyle?
I'm golden.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Let's make it happen.
Alrighty,
That's
so
good, right?
first, I want to hear you guys' thoughts immediately. When you guys heard the NBA is coming back that quickly, December 22nd, what do you guys think?
Well, first, I saw LeBron post a pic talking about the quickest restart. So just hats off to him that he's playing through so many seasons, and it's gonna be another short turnaround for them. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna be tough on all of them, but I mean, we're gonna have to see what happens with that one. The players agreed to it, so I'm guessing they're ready to kind of get things back on schedule.
I think above everything, it's like it shows how organized the NBA is and how functional they are. I mean, right now they're considered better than the NFL and the MLB in terms of organization. They didn't have any cases in the bubble. They made everything work out perfectly, and they find a way to bring back the season as soon as possible. So I mean, that's all praise for the organization NBA, Adam Silver. So yeah, I think it's great for them.
Yeah, news came out that the NBA took a pretty big hit financially with the pandemic, as well as the Daryl Morey comments, months back with the whole China situation. And it ended up being kind of about a $1.5 billion hit all in all, and then it was about a $1.5 million cost, or no, rather $150 million cost in terms of putting the whole bubble together for the restart. And now they're trying to get things back on track for this season so they don't have to again compete with NFL Sundays down the line here if the season were to start in, let's say, January or February of 2021. So there's some definitely financial decisions being made here, not to mention that the NBA starts around Christmas time. There's definitely financial incentives for them and their partners there. So, what do we think about that? I think the NBA is crafty. I think they're looking at it from kind of a multi-pronged decision making point of view, and I think I'm not a financial expert, but I know that if there was an option here for the players not to agree to the resume on December 22nd, but as I understand it, there's a major clause where the owners could have possibly, tore up the CBA, which would have rejected how the contracts are currently set up with the players, and that would have fucked up everything. It would have tore like pretty much like how the escrows are set up and the collective bargaining and all that stuff would have went out of whack. So I don't want to go all into that, but just in terms of like how money is coming down, like what do you guys think is going to happen? Like, do you think the cap's going to go up or down? Like, do you think you're going to see teams spending money this offseason going into free agency? Is I guess what I'm asking.
I'm From my understanding, I'm not sure if they have like the money to be spending like crazy, but on the other end, I feel like obviously I have no idea right now, like I'm not gonna lie, but like I'm thinking that they're still gonna be able to spend the money they need, and I think that coming back for Christmas was a is a major move that they're making, being that everybody watches, NBA on Christmas Day. And then I know there was a lot of talks about even trying to get some fans back, so maybe that can help improve their revenue a little. But let's kind of have to see on that one.
Yeah, I agree with Kyle. I mean, I don't see that many changes happening. I mean, obviously it's gonna have a hit, but to the point that teams not be spending money, I don't believe in that. I think it's gonna be fairly normal opening up back in Christmas.
It's also tough too. Like, I mean, you got to think about everything that was affected by this pandemic. So there's no way that
Yeah.
they had to have expected that loss. There was
hmm
And like for everybody who's kind of shocked, like, oh my god, I can't believe they lost this, or look at them, they lost money. Like once again, we're
Yeah.
in a pandemic. There was no way they were going to be able to pull off the numbers that they did last year, where they had fans at all these stadiums, were able to put on the finals, with fans included, traveling, all that. So, and then like once again, you mentioned the numbers for the bubble. That's just
Yeah.
a lot of money in itself. So,
Yeah, they
Mhm.
already had the bubble experience, so I feel like at some point teams are just like used to the situation and they know what they can work with and what they cannot. So they should all probably have a plan at this
Yeah.
point.
So one thing in doing some reading myself, it's already known that the cap is going to go down. Like that's known for a fact. I think like is something like reported like maybe down to like 109 million, roughly around there. So like teams expect that, they know that. And then one other thing is, so how contracts work is 10% of a player's contract is held in escrow um, for the end of the season, and then based on where revenue stands at the end of the season, like if revenue doesn't end up where it's expected, you know, if it performs poorly, that goes down. They don't earn that 10% that they expected. So obviously in the pandemic, that kind of got shot to shit a little bit. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But just in listening and reading to some things, Tiago, I think you might be surprised. I think there will be some teams that aren't going to spend. I think there will be some teams like I think the Warriors are an example of a team that will spend because I feel like they still feel like they have a nucleus that can win and is also aging. Like obviously Curry, you know, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's like around 32 right now, coming off an injury. Clay as well, coming off an injury. Draymond's not getting any younger, and they have the number 2 pick in the draft. Are they going to draft a player? Are they going to make a trade for a vet? Who knows? But they want to win now, and they're going to try and probably use a mid-level exception to try and get a free agent and try and win now. So they're probably a team that's going to spend. But there's some teams that probably don't feel like they can win. So they're like, what's the point of trying to spend money right now in a pandemic? So, I don't know, but it's hard to say, really, right?
You gotta
right.
read the situation. The Warriors are a team that been winning for a while now, and they haven't been in the bubble. So their hunger to win is above any other team in the NBA right now. I feel. I mean, especially because they were not in the bubble, so they got something to prove. But besides them, I don't see like any other team that has not been in the bubble that might want to spend right away. Because all the other teams are just, they're either not good enough to win right now, like you said, so it's pointless to like be spending like crazy right now, or they just have a solid team already. So I don't know. The Warriors definitely need another piece though, so I wonder what they're gonna do to get it.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Hawks are a team that want to spend. Like, I know we wanted to talk about free agency, and this is a player that I think Kyle has talked about on previous shows, who has a player option to potentially restructure a deal with the Spurs. But if DeMar DeRozan opts out of his player option, he's an unrestricted free agent. And if the Hawks are serious about offering up max money to a guy, DeMar DeRozan's a guy that they could offer max money to, and there's somebody you could pair up with the Trey Young, Cam Reddish, and Capella. So that's a
Yeah,
team that's maybe not really that good, but if they really want to spend, they could land a player.
And John Collins.
yeah.
Right?
If
John
I
you
agree
Collins
too.
too. That's a name.
So it's funny that we're talking about the Hawks too, being that we got to speak about it, coming up soon. But I was just reading that they were definitely trying to shop out that 6th pick. So it sounds like they're definitely on the end
they
of
are,
they
they're
they
trying to
they
trade it.
want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like they're on the end of wanting to spend a little bit. So like you said, DeMar DeRozan could be a good pick, but whatever it is, the Warriors they're probably going to be spending a little.
Would it be a good fit though? If you think about it, you think DeMar DeRozan would be a good fit for the Hawks?
Can we talk about DeMar DeRozan's game, like just really quickly? Um, So obviously not a 3-point shooter really at all. He goes
Mm-hmm.
out of his way to shoot 3-pointers as little as he possibly can. But inside of the 3-point line, one of the most efficient 2-point shooters in the league, shoots really high percentage from the free throw line. He's not really a facilitator of the ball. He's not going to really, make a lot of plays for others. But he's a guy that can get a basket at the end of the game, in
Definitely.
isolation. Um, how does he work in a modern game? Um, he's more of an an archetype kind of player. He's not really, in this newer school type of basketball, but
I
there's
think he
some
could pair well
arguments
though.
and metrics that work. Yeah. It depends on what metrics you look at and like how you're trying to structure your team. I don't know. Would I personally want to build a team around him? No. But I think if
Exactly.
you look at some things, you could say, hey, it works.
Well, that's the thing. The Hawks wouldn't be trying to build a team around him. They're just adding
Obviously,
him.
that
Yeah. So
Trey
they're
Young
just
is gonna
adding
be
him.
there. No,
Yeah.
I mean I
And
get you
with a
guys'
player
point.
like
I
Trey
think
Young, yeah, he's gonna get his buckets, but he is a point guard, so he's gonna be able to get DeMar DeRozan the ball, like he can get the rest of the team the ball too.
I
So
don't know. I was
it's
Yeah.
just
just a younger
thinking.
style of play. Like, of course, he's gonna pull up, but he
I was
can
just
get the
thinking.
ball.
You want to win now, and your best shot at free agency is DeMar DeRozan.
No, I
Mm,
mean they have
Yeah,
other
that's the
options.
problem.
It's just I don't think
Well,
that's their
this is
only
this
one.
this but the thing is, it's like, do you mortgage because the thing about the NBA is if you make a bad decision, you can really fuck your cap up, and you don't
mhm.
want to do that. Like especially when you have a young team like that. And it's like this free agency class is so weak. It's like, do you really want to take a gamble, or do you want to play it smart when you have a young court and just wait another year, right? Especially when you're in a
Exactly.
pandemic and money's tight.
Exactly. Like the Hawks are not gonna win this year. Like it's not like it's gonna be a huge difference. I mean, it's gonna be a difference at DeMar DeRozan, but why not just wait another year? You use that high pick you have. You might get something, you might get nothing, whatever. But wait till to another better free agency, I guess. I don't know, man.
Can
I
we
feel like
also go ahead? Sorry.
I just said I feel like it's like you said, it's a gamble to go for the more the rules, and he's not getting younger too. And I don't think his game adds that much value to the team. So personally, myself, I wouldn't pull the trigger on that one this year. I'd probably wait another year. But I don't know.
Well, that's the thing though. They got the
Um,
sixth pick, so they've got to make a move now. So it's either and
but
not saying DeMar DeRozan, but they're willing to shop it out. Is what I'm saying. Yeah, Max.
the funny thing about the sixth pick in this draft is, I think that's honestly one of the perfect spots to be in this draft. Is that this draft isn't so great. I think being around 5, 6, or 7 is kind of right where you want to be, because it's like you could easily fuck up the first, second, or third pick because it's not very top heavy. There's no obvious first pick, but hey, maybe at 5, 6, or 7, there's a ton of options, and it's like, hey, who knows? You could easily draft the best player in the draft at 6, if you do your homework and you pick the right one, honestly. But the thing I want to say lastly about Trey Young and the Hawks is, yeah, his rise on offense was meteoric this year. Trey Young shot the shit out of the ball and he really facilitated and made plays for his teammates. But that man is a liability on defense. God damn, he is top 3 worst defender in the NBA. He cannot guard for shit, dude. And switching defenders from bigs to smalls, dude, it is hard to watch, dude. People hunt him. It is bad. The Hawks are gonna have serious problems because I'm telling you, man, when it comes to playoff basketball, dude, like people are gonna pick him apart, bro. You saw in the playoffs what happens, dude. People go after you if you're on the court and you play defense like that.
That's facts though. I will
That is
say
true.
though, if back to DeMar DeRozan adding that too, if you got Trey Young out there, DeMar DeRozan could play a little defense, so it could work out. Never know.
The only way it works is if he's scoring 40 points a game and he plays defense like that.
Shoot, you know me, I don't believe in defense, so run and gun.
It's yeah, I get fuck, man. I guess something like that. um, yeah, I mean, I guess the other things I wanted to touch on with the NBA resume is just like players that are coming off of injuries. That kind of puts them in a tougher spot. You thought maybe you were getting a return in possibly February or March. It's like, oh shit, the season's starting in December. It's like either I have to push myself, to grind hard and to try and get that start on December 22nd, or there's not even a chance, and it's like I'm not gonna possibly be resuming play until a month or two into the season, and then there's teams like LeBron James and the Miami Heat, not teams, but teams like the Lakers and the Heat and even the Celtics, and the Nuggets that made deep runs into the playoffs, and it's like, well, they didn't even really get a break. Now they're going right back at it, and I don't know if LeBron James said this himself, but I heard some whispers that like LeBron might take the first month off and AD would just go carry the Lakers and LeBron would just show up a month later and just start playing again. I don't even know, It just
But that's
seems
the
pretty
thing,
crazy,
though.
right?
The Lakers are kind of beat up too, right?
Yeah.
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 So
They're old. They're
Both
an
of them.
older team, through and through.
I mean, hey, I think LeBron is going to do exactly that, or maybe they might switch it around. Somebody's going to get them just to the playoffs, and then later in the season they'll ball out.
The first person that
Right.
I thought about when you mentioned those injuries, though, it was John Wall. Like, what is gonna happen with him? Is he coming back already?
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, I forgot about that.
Exactly,
That's
because
a good
John
point.
Wall, before the bubble, he said he was ready to go, but then when the bubble started, he decided not to go and opt out of it because he was still recovering. So I wonder, like, he's definitely good to go, but will he be back in December or will he wait out?
I think he'll be
Because
back. He's been like doing all these runs and all that like off season. So
yeah, but he's taking it very careful. Like he's injury prone. He knows
Yeah.
he's injury prone, and his injury is not something to play around with.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I would say honestly, it's just like at this point, like with the talent that the Wizards have, there's just no point in rushing him, right? It's just like, who cares? Just whenever he's ready, just play him.
But
It's
there
like
is
let him
point in
take his
rushing
time.
him. There is point in rushing him because fans are getting impatient, and you cannot
Yeah.
take that out of consideration. Just the fact that he was not in the bubble upset a lot of people, which I thought it was weird because they were not going anywhere. But anyways, it did upset a lot of people. So I guess, man, they got to make a move. They got to show the fans that John Wall is back. Otherwise, it's just they're just gonna keep being target for criticism. But I know at the end of the day, the decision will be on John Wall's hands. I guess if you're ready to come back,
Mhm.
if you're feeling healthy. Other than him, I don't remember any other players that are trying to come back from injuries. Porzingis maybe. I think he was still injured. Um, but I don't know
I
if
want
he's
to say
healthy
a few
already.
people mess up like ankles and stuff in the bubble. I can't remember who though.
Yeah.
I
I
know
don't know how bad.
Kyrie got injured at the end. I think he'll be fine though.
How about
Um,
KD? How about the KD
KD, I
situation?
think KD should be fine, right?
Yeah, I think they're all like recovered. I think they're just waiting on the season start, I guess. So
So KD is gonna be on for the season start.
I mean, assuming that he's gonna play and not just try to wait it
No,
out half the season. But yeah.
I mean, KD should theoretically be fine. I mean, you think about it. The finals were in what July of um was that July of
2019.
2019? Yeah, so that's
A year
damn
and a
near a
half.
year and a half. So
Yeah.
he
I
should be recovered fully.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't. I mean, don't go by the day because when Cousins got his ankle torn, it's been how long since he got that injured, and he
But I
never like
mean,
No,
KD is literally
no, I'm
back
just
on the
saying.
court. He's working out
right.
he's 100% good to go. So
Okay,
it's just a
I'm
I
just
matter of
see.
saying
if he wants to play. That's good.
I'm just saying if you take the averages, if you take the average recovery time for that injury, it's about a year. So that's all I'm basing it off of. Um, so the only real, because like I said, mostly this free agent class is pretty weak. DeMar DeRozan, if he doesn't restructure a deal with the Spurs, he can do his own thing. He's unrestricted. Montrezl Harrell is
Gordon
You
Hayward.
know who I
unrestricted,
had a
but I'm
question about?
yeah.
I was actually wondering what was gonna happen with Miami because I peeped that they were in a lot of like, oh, this player might come here, like Giannis might come here, Brad Bill might come here. So like, who are
Yeah.
they targeting? And then I heard like Oladipo at one point. So I'm
Yeah,
kind of
hmm
curious what they're really
So
going for.
that's interesting. Tiago, you want to start since you're
I think Goran Dragic is gonna resign with us on a minimum contract or a veteran contract, whatever. And besides that, I don't know, man. Bradley Beal is not coming for sure. He's staying in Washington almost
But they have been
100%.
targeting like everybody, right?
Yeah, they have, but you know how it is. Like a team has a cap space for a superstar. They've been in the finals, so now every rumor seems true. You know, they can say they want to bring Michael Jordan out of retirement, and that's going to be on the newspaper. You know, like so. My
Oh, they were
opinion,
in
the
the
most
finals. Oh,
so the most realistic thing I saw in the news is Oladipo coming. I can see
Yes.
that happening, and that's the most viable option I think right now, and the most likely to happen. Not Giannis. I honestly hope Giannis doesn't come to the Heat. I have a bad feeling about it. Um, we already have established superstars in the team. I don't want Giannis to be the face of the franchise at all. But other than that, I'd be
Well,
happy having Oladipo. I think it would be
well,
a good adding.
you couldn't have both Bam and Giannis. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, so you'd be paying one or the other. But so first thought is A, I don't think Washington wants to part ways with Bradley Beal. B is if they were to, whoever gets Bradley Beal is gonna have to give up a fucking haul. I'm talking about a haul. Like I'm talking about picks up the wazoo, and I'm talking about a ton of talent. And I think the team that would honestly really consider it is your Brooklyn Nets, Kyle.
I believe it.
I think that I think honestly, I think Bradley probably is that player with Kyrie and KD that could really push them over the edge. And I think that Kyrie and KD actually could talk Steve Kerr and or I said Steve Kerr, Steve Nash and management into potentially, sending those picks and Karis LeVert, Jared Allen over, and possibly a piece extra over, a
That's the
player
problem
over.
though. They're gonna have to get rid of
Right.
the whole team. We're gonna be on some like
Yeah.
Lakers type shit,
Exactly.
just pulling out players from
Uh,
wherever.
Better than
it's
the
it's
Brooklyn
it's
Nets.
that's
Yeah,
it's exactly what it's going to be like.
better than the Brooklyn Nets. I just remembered of a team who has the sixth pick and Cam Reddish that they could trade for Bradley Beal.
Does he have a lot of value though?
He does have value.
What's up?
Cam Reddish does have value, and
Like
if you
high
think about,
value though. Like do teams
yeah,
like want him?
obviously it's not going to be just that, but if you think about the Hawks making a trade for Bradley Beal, they have the assets. I think, yeah, I mean a
Which is
pick.
the question. No, the question's just how many first round picks are they offering?
Exactly. And Cam Reddish has to be in that package for sure.
And then it's like how many picks are protected, how many are unprotected, all that
Mhm.
stuff. And then it gets into the nitty gritty of all that stuff.
But yeah, if you want
But
to be realistic, I think the only big move is going to be Oladipo, and I think he might come to the Miami Heat.
Where else
I don't
could he
know.
go? Like what are his other options? Like what are other teams looking?
Oladipo,
uh
he's in a funny place right now if you think about it. Like
he's in
Indiana
a
is not
very
going to go
funny
anywhere.
place.
Yeah, like
Well,
Indiana, it is what it is, and he's been injured for a while, so people kind of forgot about Oladipo again. So I feel like he needs a fresh start, and he wants that fresh start, anyways, out of
in
Indiana.
Indiana and Utah are the two teams that are in the weirdest position right now. So Indiana no longer wants a pairing of Miles Turner and the center, or what's the white center's name? I'm blanking on his name.
Sabonis.
Yeah, apparently it's not working out. I don't think the two like playing together very much. And Indiana's other problem is they don't historically they're a small market team and they don't like paying top dollar, and especially due to the fact that Oladipo was playing at superstar level, but he suffered the injury and he came back, but he never established himself as playing on that level again. So how are you going to offer him a max contract when you don't know where his level of play is again? So
Right.
when you're a market team like that, you can't give him that contract. So I think right now they can give him something like 4 years, $113 million. So Oladipo can either take that contract, play with the Pacers, or the Pacers can try and trade him, or Oladipo can take like a 1 year contract for like 18 million or 20 mil, bet on himself, try and ball out, and then try and sign a max the next year. When he'll be an unrestricted, he can sign where he want after. So that's that. And the other team is Utah. Is Utah Rudy Gobert, right? Rudy Gobert is up for a max too. But would you want to build a team around Rudy Gobert? I don't know if I would, man.
Hell
Is that a
no.
modern center you'd want to build around?
Hell no. Hell no.
Right.
No.
Because, dude, I mean, I get it. He's a defensive player of the year candidate every year, but he can't shoot from the outside. His post games, I mean, he has a very minimal post game, very minimal. But obviously, he's a force in the middle. He can reject shots. He can rebound like no other. And there's games where he looks unstoppable, but then there's games where he gets beat and he looks ridiculous outside. When guards are beating him like a drum. So I don't know if I'm giving him a max in this modern game.
I am sure not giving him a max contract, but that's me personally.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Players may like
'cause
playing.
Nicole-
You never know.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like Nikola Jokic and guys like that are just gonna make him look silly.
Definitely, the more offensive game.
All
all
the
around
modern
kind of
centers will
Right.
make him look silly, man. Like, and he's not getting younger too. Like, I think this is Gobert's ceiling. He's not gonna get better. That's it. That's
No.
how good he can
Hey.
get. No, he's good. Like, he already has a good ceiling. Like, for a center, this is better than average. Like, you're now always like in the contesting for the defender player of the year. But that's it. That's what you're gonna offer. Like, it's not worth the risk of like making Rudy your most paid player on your team. Doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
But then there's that argument. Like I've heard the argument being made that like you look at the Lakers this season, and it's like, say what you want about fucking Dwight Howard and his antics, like him pulling shit on the sidelines and trying to like pull scare tactics and bully people and just like do kind of bizarre shit at times, but the Lakers' big lineup did really work at times, with LeBron, with Anthony Davis, and Dwight out there. And you can make the case that big on big lineup really was effective. And then some people will say, well, hey, couldn't, a Rudy Gobert and then another big lineup work? But no, that's not how it works. The only reason why that works in LA is because you have Anthony Davis and LeBron James. I'm sorry, but Rudy Gobert is an Anthony Davis. Like you can't have Rudy Gobert and Dwight Howard out there. Even if you do have LeBron James out there with them, you can't expect that you're going to replicate those same results. You don't have those.
No.
The offensive skill caliber is nowhere near. Can't compare the things.
Honestly, I don't even know if I would pick Steve Adams over Rudy Gobert at this point. Based on their games. Honestly, you can get Steve Adams for a way cheaper price than Rudy Gobert all day because the defensive player shit. And I think he's gonna bring up the same quality of game as Rudy Gobert, if not better. Like I would trust more Steven Adams, to be honest. But that's me personally.
Okay, wait. That's an interesting point. I don't know. You're dead right. You get Steven Adams for cheaper. I think Rudy Gobert is significantly a better player, though. Last thing I want to talk about before we talk about the rookie quarterback, let's talk about Chris Paul. What's up with Chris Paul? Because I know Oklahoma
He's going to
State.
LA.
They've already talked about the fact that they're going to be amicable to him. They're going to allow him to. They're going to send him where he wants to go. They're going to try and make a deal to get him to a team where he can be in a situation to be on a playoff team. And obviously we know he's who knows how many years he's got left. Probably maybe 2, 3, 4. But hopefully I don't know if it's a ring or not, but hopefully he can make, a run or two more in the playoffs. But what are we thinking? What are teams that need a point guard and could make a run in the playoffs?
Plain and simple. He's going to be a Laker. That's all I got to say. Yeah.
The Clippers need a point guard too.
He's not going back to the Clippers. Rondo's
Dude,
going to go to the Clippers.
the answer seems so obvious to me, bro. It seems so obvious. I don't know. And I said this on the podcast when we started this shit. Like right when we started it, like the first episode, I think, dude. Fucking Eric Bledsoe. He's the reason why Milwaukee fucks up. He fucks up in the playoffs every year. He just shits his pants, dude. Chris Paul to Milwaukee, and he changes everything. I'm telling you. He just opens the floor up so much if he goes to Milwaukee. I'm telling you.
It would be a nice look. I just don't think he's going to Milwaukee. It would be good. It would work out. I totally understand that. I just for some reason I'm just
He
like
doesn't want to.
I
He
doubt
doesn't
he's
want
gonna
to.
want to go to Milwaukee.
He
Or
doesn't
what
want
about
to.
this? What about this? What about this? What about Goran Dragic to Milwaukee? Wouldn't that open things up a lot for Milwaukee? Don't you? Or can we all agree that Eric Bledsoe is a problem in Milwaukee? They need to move on from him.
Yeah, but you know
Yeah.
that Goran Dragic is like, I mean, I love him. He's one of my favorite players on the Heat roster, but dude, he's injury prone and he's not getting younger too. Is he gonna be your main point guard in Milwaukee? Because the reason why he fits good with the Heat is that he can rotate a lot because we got depth. We can play at Kendrick Nunn and let Dragic skip some games, come off the bench, do his own thing. In Milwaukee, he's gonna
Yeah.
have a shit ton of pressure to play.
Yeah, but look. They can, dude. That's what the Bucks are famous for, man. They play freaking Giannis 30 minutes a game during the regular season. They can play freaking Dragic 28 minutes a game during the regular season. I don't care what they do. They'll still win 58 games during the regular season. All they need to do is keep him fresh for the playoffs. I know he had a unfortunate, plantar fasciitis injury during the finals. That was, unfortunate. But if they can keep him fresh during the playoffs, and he was playing amazing, during the playoffs. If he could replicate anything near that, and you put him on a Bucks team like that, I think it takes them to a whole nother level. And I think Chris Paul does as well. So fuck, I'm on the team. Get Eric Bledsoe the fuck out of there. So sign me up for either one of those. I'm there.
I don't think Dragic would want to go to Milwaukee too, man. To be honest, because okay, picture this: either Chris Paul or Dragic are offered, a contract to go to Milwaukee, especially Chris Paul, because he has to be multiple years. And you think, okay, Milwaukee's a shit show in the playoffs right now. They're being a target for criticism a lot. And if one more bad year happens, Giannis is getting the fuck out of here, and I'm staying alone in Milwaukee. This is Chris Paul's point of view. Like again. You're gonna be
Giannis might leave
abandoned.
this year.
What?
So Giannis might leave this year.
Yeah, exactly. So if I'm Chris Paul, I'm like, I am not gonna do that. I'm not gonna be the last player on a good team again. Like, I'm not just gonna move to a team so that the star player gets the fuck out of there when the first mistake happens. So Milwaukee last year was in a good spot because they were targeted to win the NBA Finals, at least get there. And Giannis was doing this and that. But now Milwaukee's a shit show. It's a risk to go there because you don't know if
What if-
Giannis is getting out.
What if Chris Paul just says fuck it and he just takes his career to go die as a New York Knick with no hopes of winning a ring?
Oh
He
no, hell
just
no, hell
flames out in New York City and just balls out
Hell
as,
no.
as the last star of New York.
Honestly, whatever Chris Paul decides to do, I'm cool with. I don't hate him. I mean, he's not a bad player. He's a great player, all time, one of the all time greats. So whatever he wants to do, like he could just go for it. He wants to go
I
to
mean, it's
New York, whatever.
No.
Yeah.
Why would you go to the Knicks?
This is
ruining
a
your
joke.
career.
I was just making a joke. I mean, it's just fun. No, I mean, it's just, I was more so saying it because I know Chris Paul is, he's a really intelligent guy, and I'm sure he has aspirations beyond just a basketball career of maybe getting involved, and, maybe, some media related stuff, some creative projects. And I know you can launch a lot of career related, possibilities in New York City. I know Kevin Durant had aspirations related to that. And I think that was, some influence related to that was why he made his decision in Brooklyn. So, LeBron James also had some thought process there and why he went to Los Angeles. So people have thoughts that aren't just related to sports. So you never know. But
And look,
let's
last thing
talk
I'll
about
say, plain and simple, player, coach, and GM LeBron James is gonna bring Chris Paul to LA. That's it.
I believe in
Yeah,
that too.
the banana boat, baby, the banana boat.
You get it.
What about Carmelo Anthony fucking saddling up out there too?
He might pop up there too. You never know.
No, I think he's gonna stay
For
with
a
the
little bit
Blazers.
more than the veteran minimum.
I think he's gonna stay with the Blazers. The Blazers like him. He clicked well with Damian Lillard and McCollum. I think it's a safe bet to say that Carmelo is not going anywhere this year. He's gonna stay with the Blazers. I mean, listen, Carmelo has this effect that if things go bad, everybody hates him, but if things go well, he's like loved by the city. You know what I mean? Like when Carmelo is playing well, it's like the fan base like skyrockets on the city. Like, and the city of Portland right now, they all love Carmelo. Like he's one of the most sell. I think he probably sold more jerseys than fucking CJ McCollum out there, you know. So I don't know, man. I feel like Portland might want to stick with him for at least 1 more or 2 years. I see them giving a 2 year contract, honestly, and he's just like wrapping up his career in the next 2 years with the Blazers. That's what I think it's gonna
It's a
happen.
possibility. The question for him is, can he play defense? If he can play defense,
That's
probably. I don't know. He didn't shoot very well, to be honest. He was really streaky shooting the ball, but yeah, I mean, he seemed like a good leader. His attitude seemed well. It seemed like the fans liked him. It seemed like his teammates liked him. It seemed like
Oh, and he
Harry
has
Stotts liked
impact.
him. So
He has impact in the
yeah,
game. Even like so you know how some players, like recently I read a documentary about players like, you know, Ray Lewis or Jamal Adams, like they bring this fire to the team when they're playing, and sometimes the team gets better not just by the numbers that they put. Obviously, I just said like two players that they are on another level, but you know, like some players bring this fire to a team that just with the attitude and the way you act on the field. I feel like Carmelo kind of brought that to Portland in some ways because his career was supposed to be done, and he knew he didn't do that in the Rockets or Oklahoma. So he bring that spirit back in Oakland for the Blazers, especially on the playoffs. You know, Carmelo was all over the place, and we saw flashes of the Nuggets Carmelo there. I think that's what they're looking for him. I mean, you can talk about defense and the fact that he was not the best shooter on the team, but when it comes to team spirit, which is something I feel like Damian Lillard gives a lot of value. Carmelo is all over the place right now for Portland. You know, you see him screaming back for boards again on the field. You see him, you know, being active on the field. You see him being nervous on court. You know, like he's really trying to win, and he's taking clutch shots again. You know, doing his little celebration thing. You know, he was clutch a couple of times last year or this year in the bubble, as far as I remember. So I think that's what they'll be looking for him, especially team culture. That's all about Carmelo.
yeah. No, that's fair. Definitely. I mean, I think lastly, to put a bow on Carmelo, I think what can't be understated about his performance with the Nuggets is simply the fact that he was in shape. You know, he had his weight under control. You look at him in Houston and OKC, I think it was pretty easy to tell that he was a few pounds overweight, and
Oh
it
yeah.
was, you know, he was not moving down the court very well. But okay, I want to pose some last questions. We'll get a little deeper into it than these last questions, but Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert, who do you guys got?
Joe Burrow.
I want to just read off the stats. I'm not going to go into like the advanced metrics, but we'll talk about it a little deeper, but I'll just like give it to you plain and simple so far. So Burrow's played a few more games than Herbert because Herbert came in for Tyrod Taylor, who had a little chest problem against the Chiefs. I think it was week 2. But through 8 games, Burrow has 2,272 yards, 11 TDs, 5 interceptions, and a QBR of 59.9. Herbert through 6 games, 1,820 yards, 15 TDs, 5 INTs, and 76.4 QBR, which ranks him 9th in the league. All right, you said Joe Burrow, Thiago. This is now, I don't know what that jackass show with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp is, but I'm now like posing you guys up against each other, so you guys better make some fucking compelling arguments.
Oh my gosh. Damn, you just had to set us up. That's cool. I figured it would go this way. So first of all, I
Let's
mentioned
go.
it. I mentioned
Spar.
it. First couple episodes, I think we were talking about plays to look out for, and you know, I feel good about it. Justin Herbert is definitely balling. Let me see if I can pull up these stats again. And what'd you say? Yeah, 18,000 yards too,
Oh,
right?
take your
Joe
time.
Burrow.
I meant to, yeah. I meant to
What?
give you props, dude. I'll be the first to say, dude, I wasn't high on Justin Herbert coming out of Oregon. I watched him play in a lot of big games where he really, you know, disappeared and you could say choked. but he's played really well. Don't get me wrong. There's times where he misses easy throws for the Chargers, but
Definitely.
before you start, I want to say he's played really, really good football.
Yeah, I think so too. In this situation, me personally, I'm taking Justin Herbert. As I've seen, how I see it though, like Joe Burrow's playing pretty damn good, as for a rookie. I think he's third as far as like passing yards with how many you say 2,200?
Are we talking about Herbert or Burrow?
Burrow.
2,272.
Yeah, so I want to say he's third in the league right now with those numbers. But I just really like what I've seen from Herbert's game. I think there's a lot to work on there, but I mean, just from the couple games I was watching and follow, I like the stats. I like what he's doing out there. Go ahead, Tiago. I know you're gonna be like, oh man, this guy sucks.
Excuse my French, but what the fuck? Why? Like, okay, all right. There's so many things I can talk about in here, man. There's so many things. First of all, Joe Burrow is not playing like a rookie. He is not playing like a rookie. Dude is a leader on the field. He's a true team captain.
Don't even know how to slide. Fuck out of here.
He's he is a true team captain. I feel like he's a complete QB right now. Unfortunately, the Bengals are not in the best spot. Like his best receiver, AJ Green, if it's still his best receiver, is not having the
fuck
best
out of
year.
here.
He's
Dude,
definitely
I'm
not.
sorry, I'm gonna stop you right there. Tyler Boyd is 2 times better than AJ Green at this point.
Exactly. So you know what I
And
mean. Like,
T,
and then
and T Higgins is also better than AJ Green at this
Yeah.
point too.
that's why I said if he's still his best receiver, because name-wise, everybody remembers AJ Green, but he's not doing a lot this year. Anyways, their O-line is also not the best, but what Joe Burrow is doing,
Wait. I'm gonna stop you right there too. Their O line is in fact the worst in the league.
exactly.
They cannot block. They cannot block for shit. That man is in fact running for his livelihood every single time he drops back.
And he knows that. So that's why I'm saying, like, you guys agreeing with me. Like, I'm not saying Justin Herbert has a better O-line. Well, he does have a better O-line, but
Yeah.
I feel like Herbert is more risk than Joe Burrow. Like, I feel like if I had to go for the future and you tell me, like, pick the safest quarterback, I'd be like, Joe Burrow is for sure going to be a solid quarterback in the league. Why I'm not high on Justin Herbert? Because I remember Jameis Winston on his rookie year, too. And the guy had an arm, and he can throw fuck ton of yards. He can move in the pocket too, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's gonna be great." And where's Winston now, right?
That's crazy. I can't believe
yeah.
that.
Exactly. So it's when I think about Herbert, I don't want to compare it to Tua because they're completely different players. But I feel like both of them are still gambles. It's definitely working for Herbert. Don't get me wrong; like he's playing good, but like Mike said, he takes some risks too.
I
Like
think they all take risks. They're new quarterbacks,
they
They're
do,
still
but
trying to figure out how to
there's
play them.
just something about Herbert that gives me these Jameis Winston vibes. I'm not gonna lie, dude.
That's disgusting. I don't even like that comparison. The person I'd say you could look at long term, I'd compare him more to Philip Rivers.
I hope so. No, I hope he has that long term.
Career wise, like I
Yeah.
don't know if he's gonna win something, but he's gonna ball out. Like
I'm talking
Phillip
about
Rivers plays
rookie
decent
type of
football.
hype. I'm
Yeah,
talking like
all
rookie
right,
type.
but Justin Herbert has way more of a frozen rope than Rivers. Justin Herbert he's a gunslinger, man. I would you know who really you can compare him to a little bit. This is a little bit of a stretch, man, but Brett Favre a little bit, man. You look at the way that he fucking hucks that thing, dude. That man has a rope. And you talk about like an inability to not care, like talk about just fitting the ball into tight windows, challenging defensive backs, just having the ultimate faith to, throw the ball to Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, just putting it in the top shelf. Like, dude, he's a rookie and he's not fazed by anybody. But to like answer the question that I asked you guys, yeah, I'm gonna give Tiago the nod. I'm going with Joe Burrow.
I will say this. Let me say this real quick though. I will say, had it been switched around, I think I don't think that Justin Herbert would have done like how good Joe Burrow's doing in Cincinnati right now. I don't think it would have been the same way. So that's why I give it to Joe Burrow too. Like I said though, I'm still rocking with Herbert. But continue, Max.
Yeah. I think just like poise wise, can we also talk about how old? I want. I just want to fact check myself right now.
What, the age?
Joe Burrow's 23 years old. Like this is very old for a rookie NFL quarterback. If I'm not mistaken, that's damn near the same age as Sean Watson, as we know, who's been in the league for years now. So like as Tiago said, he's poised as he well should be because he's 23 years old. But I want to really harp on the point that he really is running for his life every single time. The football is in his hands. That line really, really struggles. They have a hard time blocking for him, and it shows. You look at his jersey; it's stained every single damn week. He's taking hits, and he's not afraid. He's not afraid to run out of the pocket. He's not afraid to run down the field. To sacrifice his body to get the extra yard. To try and get across the first yard. First yardage. To keep drives going. I just like that he can really make every throw. I think the one detraction for him is that he doesn't have that arm strength that Justin Herbert does. That's pretty evident. He can't really throw that deep ball like Herbert, but he can, fit the ball in. Like his accuracy definitely is pinpoint.
Yeah, way better.
That's for sure. But yeah, I think with Herbert, like he has the wow factor, right? You look at the highlights and it's like, holy shit, he just made that throw. He has like 3 or 4 throws a game where it's like, Jesus Christ. Like, he's doing something that you don't see every quarterback do. So that's why I kind of say the Brett Favre stuff because, we were definitely young when he was popping off, but I think we can all remember seeing stuff where it's like, wow, not everybody can do that kind of stuff. But I think they're both incredible quarterbacks, and I think they're both going to have amazing careers. But I am curious with Justin Herbert just to see what his progression is like, just in terms of you want the calculated risk, right? Because there becomes a point where you're taking risks, but like, are they calculated? Because you can't just throw in tight windows all the time, and just expect blindly that things are going to work out for you. But I will say when you have guys like Hunter Henry, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams on your side, more times than not, odds are in your favor. But yeah, I just want to see like how that's going to shake out for him. So far, when you have 1,800 yards through 6 games, shit's going pretty well, and you have a 3-to-1 TD to interception ratio, shit's going pretty well. But yeah, I really like what I've seen so far. He plays my Raiders at 1 p.m. today. I think he's going to shred them. The Raiders defense is sharp and soft, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, let's talk about Tua though. We can't really say much. I want to talk about Tua. I really want to talk about Tua because we can't say much. We only saw 93 yards. He didn't have to do much because the Dolphins' defense is spectacular last weekend. Incredible performance. 1 touchdown to Devontae Parker, 93 yards. My concern about Tua right now. Okay, let's talk about college career first. Some would argue the greatest college quarterback of all time. I think many would agree that Joe Burrow put together the greatest college quarterback season of all time, but some would say Tua's greatest quarterback career of all time.
Wait, what?
But I have greatest college quarterback career of all time. Some would say Tua Tagovailoa was the greatest college quarterback of all time. Definitely.
Hold up.
That's a true statement.
They forgot about Team Tebow? Is it not a thing anymore?
No, I'm telling you, statistically, some people will definitely tell you that Tua is definitely the greatest college quarterback of all time. Some people will make that argument.
Hold up, I'm
not talking about national championship winners. I'm talking about like statistically throwing the ball.
Oh, I don't know,
dude. You look at Tim Tebow's throwing. You look at Tim Tebow's throwing stats, dude. He was running, the read option, and
But
I'm talking about throwing the ball.
I guess.
Are you going to tell me that Tim Tebow threw the ball and Tua Tagovailoa? Is that what are we having this argument right now?
No.
You're talking about winning, right?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm talking about the best college quarterback ever. That includes everything. That includes
Yeah,
being a
okay.
leader.
No, I'm just talking about statistically. I'm talking about throwing the football. I'm talking about statistically
Oh,
the
I
stats
get
that he
yeah.
put on the field. That's all I'm
Then
talking about.
then
That's all I'm
yeah.
talking about.
Then yeah,
Yeah,
Tua
that's
can
all
be
I'm
in the
saying.
discussion for that. And honestly,
Okay,
the
that's all I'm saying.
player I can compare Tua more after watching him play in the NFL that last week, and this might be a reach, but I see a lot of Russell Wilson in there. You know, the true improviser style, because he
Okay.
didn't have obviously that was the simplest playbook ever the Dolphins played in offense. That was a all defensive game. Our defense was definitely, you know, the focal point of that game. That's who they won the game, obviously. But and Tua was playing with very 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 simplified playbook, but he was making plays out of it. So he was improvising, because when you have Aaron Donald rushing to you, I mean, Aaron Donald got a strip sack on him right on his first snap. So that kind of hurts your feelings. But when you see that happening, and Tua still making plays after that, he scored a touchdown. He kept the ball. I mean, he didn't get that many three down conversions, and they had to punt a lot. But he was like, what I'm saying is he was able to stay on the field long enough for the defense to win the game. So I see a lot of an improviser here. You give this guy a simple playbook, and he makes whatever he can do with it. So I definitely see
Mhm.
a little bit of a Russell Wilson there, but obviously it can't be a reach. He can still be a flop. He's not showing off like Herbert and Burrow are showing off up until now, obviously. But you only had one NFL start, so who knows, man? I don't know.
I mean, we haven't seen enough to have like any real glaring concerns, but just from I kind of always had this thought just from watching him at Alabama, and I know his skill players were just so incredibly talented that it didn't really matter. And now, just in watching glimpses in that game against the Rams and seeing the speed up against an NFL defense, it kind of solidified it even more. His arm strength is something that I've seen, and it now comes to the forefront of my mind a little bit even more. And it really is a little bit weak compared to the average arm strength of an NFL quarterback. And I think that is something to monitor as his career progresses. I definitely think, in terms of making the real deep throw down the sideline in the NFL, he's below average when it comes to most quarterbacks in the league.
I want to say this though.
And
Oh yeah.
go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say that. Just first of all, it's first full game, and I feel like election night. By saying this, I think it's too early to call right now. Like of course, we got our projections, but I want to see him play at least 6 games, like how Herbert or Burrow has been playing. I want to see like how he works out. So like, I'm definitely gonna be like tuned in today, and
Mhm.
definitely like the following weeks. But it's not bad at all. It seems pretty good, and for your first NFL start, like you can't be mad at that, right? And you've got to, like you said, they had their defense really working last week. So
Yeah, Tiago, I think like for your point though, I think the point that you made about him is what is going to allow him to if he's to be a great quarterback in this league, I think your point is what is going to allow him to be that. If
the
he is going to
improviser thing.
be Yeah, if he is going to be on that level of a Russell Wilson or, on par with something like that, because he doesn't have that arm strength and because he can't go to the far side of the field and just zip us, a corner route or, a quick slant and just put it right on a hip and beat it to that spot, to where the outside linebacker can't beat, a little quick slant. He's got to really, improvise and, wiggle and look defenders up. Like he's really got to, do all the small things, right? Like Russell does. Also because he lacks the size, doesn't stand at 6'6" tall. He can't see over the whole playing field. So he's got to improvise. He's got to do all the small things right. And I think he can. I think we saw him do all those things at Alabama. And if he can do all those
Exactly.
things in the NFL, I think he can do it all in the end. If he can do all the same things he did in college, I don't see why he can't do it in the NFL. I'll just be curious if he can translate it all over.
I think this is gonna be his situation is gonna be either become a Russell Wilson or end up becoming a Carson Wentz, because they both kind of an improviser type of players. Do you feel me? Like they both guys that are hard to tackle on the backfield, and they can be slippery and all of that. But I think it's gonna depend on the Dolphins' offense. Obviously, if they give him a good O line and a good options to pass the ball to, because honestly, I don't think Devontae Parker is enough. Um,
Well,
it's gonna be
what are your thoughts? I'm curious because I don't know. I know a little bit about the Dolphins, not a whole lot, but I am intrigued about Preston Williams. I don't know enough about him. What are your thoughts about him? Is he any good?
wait. Yeah, I'm gonna touch Preston Williams right away. Just to finish up my
Yeah.
point
Okay.
about like how I feel Tua can go between being a Carson Wentz or Russell Wilson is going to depend both on Tua and on the Dolphins. You know, like if the Dolphins give Eagles type of offense to Tua every year, then he's not going to have many choices. But if he gets the right pieces and he keeps improving, you know, staying healthy and improving on being an improviser, because that's what it is. That's what he is, and that's what Carson and Russell Wilson both are. If he keeps, you know, being slippery and missing tackles and, you know, getting the ball where it needs to be, then I think he might become a Russell Wilson. Now about the Dolphins and Preston Williams, I'm not gonna lie, I'm disappointed at Preston this season. From the hype that I mean, he gained a small hype coming off to this season, saying that he's gonna be wide receiver one and all that. He's still not better than Devontae Parker, not even close. Parker reminds me of a Kenny Stills on this team. You know, like we talked about Kenny Stills before. Kenny Stills is that receiver that it's always going to be reliable, but it's never going to be a star. You know, like I feel that's Parker right there. Like any team would want a Devontae Parker in their team, but you would want him to be your wide receiver 2 or 3. You know, you would want him to play to be your fourth option. You know, playing at the 4, considering the 3 being a tight end. Why? Because this guy has hands. He runs nice routes, but he's just like he gets too injured. He drops a couple of balls to you, and sometimes he makes some mistakes. It happens, but he's still a great receiver. But it's the Kenny Steele situations again. Like I remember perfectly when Kenny was our wide receiver 1, and it was the exact same situation. He was scoring touchdowns here and there, and he was making like some crazy highlight plays for Tannehill. But at the end of the day, you knew he could not be a star wide receiver. So Dolphins fans were hoping that this star wide receiver would become Preston Williams, so he could play, you know, next to Parker. But I don't see that happening anymore. I see him Preston becoming a Devontae Parker in his ceiling at this point. What I want to talk about though is Gaskins, our running back. Now that's a surprise. Dude came into this year being running back 3, as we got Matt Breida, and who else did we get? I forgot the name of the other running back. Doesn't matter.
Howard.
Yeah, and Howard from the Eagles. And Gaskins just got the running back 1 position, and he can, like, on the first week, people were surprised why he was running the ball more. Now you can tell he's definitely the best running back in that team, and he's a great running back too. So I feel like he can be what Kenyon Drake was not for us in the previous years. You know, what Kenyon Drake should have been for us. And whatever people say about Kenyon Drake being wasted by the Dolphins this year, you see why we wasted him. He was injury prone.
He's a
Um,
bum.
yeah, I feel bad for the Cardinals. Last season he was playing, he's balling off, but as soon as he gets injured, it's over, man. That's what happens with Kenyon Drake. So I hope Gaskins is everything that Drake was not for us. Other than that, there's not much more to talk. Our defense is just, I don't know, man. I saw that game against the Rams, and I'm like, we are actually playing against a legit offense. We got like, I mean, the Rams' offense is pretty nice, and we were making plays out of it. We were blitzing the fuck out of that quarterback, out of Goff. We were getting
Yeah,
him to the ground.
impressive.
We were covering really good, and I mean, say whatever you want, but Xavier Howard is still one of the best in the league, man. What people keep forgetting, people sleep on him so bad. People forget that Xavier Howard is as good as it gets. It's just he hasn't been in a good defense before, and now he's showing off. So, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, it's an East Coast team. I'm a West Coast guy when it comes to pretty much all sports, but because as you saw me publicly broadcast on Zoom, I had a little bit of money wagered on the Rams, and I figured, they'd get after Tua, but I did not, expect that the Dolphins defense could get after the Rams like that, you know. So I was impressed, man. I didn't know that the Dolphins defense was that good. I knew that they were, you know, they had some pieces, but I was really impressed, and I'll be curious to see if Tua, you know, can continue to develop his play because the AFC East is pretty open. I know that the Bills were up pretty good on the Seahawks earlier today. Let me check the score of that right now,
You know
actually.
what? You know what's funny? It's a kind of a deja vu because Brian Flores' defense shutting down the Rams is exactly what happened in Super Bowl when the Patriots were
Right.
playing against the Rams.
Yeah.
So you see, Brian, I like how Brian Flores has this defensive mentality. Like he picks up a couple of pieces here and there and builds like a fucking wall on defense. Like, think
Mhm.
about it. The Patriots defense against that Rams offense in that Super Bowl,
Yeah.
I mean, it was obviously good, but it was not full of superstars. It's exactly the same situation
Definitely.
here. So I don't know.
They throttled them.
I definitely like Brian
Yeah.
Flores' mentality on defense.
No doubter. All right, let's wrap this though. So some NBA combos talking about the resume, a quick resume from the wrap of the bubble, the LA Laker champs of the bubble coming back on the 22nd, right before Christmas. Some free agency talk, some brief NBA draft, some NFL rookie quarterback stuff. Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert? Who do you got? Fresh off a 2.5 week break, we're gonna be back every week to 10 days now. So get used to it. All right, we'll see you soon.